Muhteşem.
Elden Ring. Many say the best game of all time. Personally, I think it's alright. Outstanding landscapes, interesting lore, and some of the best bosses gaming has ever seen. But who cares about that? This video is all about drip.
I got a ray gun in my hand, pop, 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 pop. Got a ray gun in my hand, pop, 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 pop. If you play with me, I'll shoot your ass in a big back, big back, big.
And my favorite armor set in the game is from the Kaiden Cell swords. Hulking and fearless mercenaries that fight on horseback, said to hail from the mountaintops of the windy north. But there's something about this set that intrigues me. What culture inspired this set? I have 3 candidates who might be the one who fit the whole description. But before I start, I want to clarify 2 things. First, I do history as a hobby. I am not an expert about any of the cultures I talk about. So there's definitely stuff wrong. Second, I will simplify history a lot, to keep everything well simple. And with that being said, let's start with number 1. Probably the one most people think about when they see the set. The Vikings. But why do people think that? First, because of the helmet, which resembles helmets that Vikings wore, like the Geirmundur helmet or the Yarm helmet. Second, the fact that they hail from the mountaintops of the windy north, like Vikings did. Scandinavia is pretty cold. And third, in the past there were some Vikings that were mercenaries hired by nobles. To be precise, the Varangian Guard. An elite unit of the Eastern Roman Empire that was constituted under Basil II. Looking good so far. Okay, now to all of the problems with those points. To the helmet. I mean, yeah, it resembles a Viking Age helmet, but only to a certain degree. And you also have to consider the rest of the armor. That has absolutely nothing to do with Vikings. Except maybe the symbol on the chest, which looks like something Scandinavian. Next, mercenaries that hail from the north. That part fits, but the horseback part is missing, which is like the Kaiden Cell sword's main thing. There were other cultures in history that hailed from the north and were known for their horseback fighting style, like our next candidate, the Cumans. Who are the Cumans? They are Turks! Not those guys. They are Turkic people. What is Turkic? It's a term for all the cultures who speak Turkic languages. There are more than just the Turkish people. There are the Khazars, the Yakuts, the Uzbeks, the Azeri. There are many. There are 6 branches to which they all belong. The Cumans belong to the Kipchak branch, and were, and still are, prominent in the Eurasian belt, a windy north. Cultures who lived in the Eurasian belt were mostly nomadic cultures, so they lived on horseback and fought on horseback, and the Cumans were especially known to be hired as mercenaries by many different empires in the past. But there is one big problem, like you obviously noticed: the armor. Nothing about that is really Cuman. Cuman armor is just too iconic. So that's a big no-no. The Kaiden Cell sword armor is embedded with scales mostly, and fits nearly perfectly to the last candidate, the Persians. I want to start this section by saying that there is a YouTuber, Quagmire, and Quailag's claim was that the Kaiden Cell swords are inspired by the Scythians, who were nomadic people and mercenaries living on horseback from the Eurasian belt, and were one of the earliest known users of scaled armor. I think that this is a good claim. but I also think that it goes a bit deeper. Here's the thing. The Scythians were not Persians directly, but they were later conquered by the First Persian Empire, the Achaemenid. And they adopted many elements of the Scythians like fighting on horseback and the scale armor. For example, their elite infantry, the Immortals, wore parts of scale armor. Then Alexander the Great came and conquered the Persians, but after that, sometime later, the Sasanians rose, the second great Persian empire. To say the least, they continued where the Achaemenid ended, so they took elements from the old times, like for example parts of the armor, which for me looks like the closest to Kaiden's sellsword's armor, like the gauntlets, the pants, and the white hair thing, you know, and the scales. But there is one big problem. The Sasanians weren't mercenaries, rather they employed mercenaries. They also weren't from the Windy North. The Scythians were, but not the Persians. I mean, the Middle East is not just desert, there are a lot of different biomes, like Iran has the Mazandarani Mountains for example. That could be considered a windy tops north thing, you know, but I don't think that counts. So which culture inspired the Kaiden drip? I don't know. I just wanted to talk about armors and cultures. Goodbye.